Mr. Karp, TDC, update.
Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Excuse me. I guess as of 6:30 last night, we've officially entered summer, so welcome to summer. That's appropriate as we look at the collections that have come about in the last month. I submitted to you our collections report. And as I discussed with you last month, the 51% increase in February's collections was an anomaly. We see those jumps every now and then when, based on reporting, differences in reporting between lodging facilities. Last month, we showed a slight reduction. March, we showed a slight reduction of 4%. From last year, which is really indicative of, it kind of balances everything out at the end of the quarter. It's always better to look at the end of the quarter than each month. And so, but in any event, since the beginning of October or this fiscal year, we're running at 14% increase over last year, which is about double what we did last year over the previous year. So, regardless of my explanation about the 51%, we're still doing very, very well. And we're expecting, by every indication, we're expecting the summer to be a real strong summer, of course, with the caveat that if we have a hurricane, that'll change everything. But in any event, going into the summer, our lodging providers are reporting they've got a good, strong advance reservations, and we're expecting to have a pretty good summer. So that's a good sign. I wanted to talk to you a little bit this morning about scholarships and remind you that we've talked before about the TDC has a couple of programs that are designed to work with students in the county to help prepare them for when they leave high school. And I'm happy to report on one this morning. We have a scholarship that we awarded last week to one of the graduates of the Franklin County High School. His name is Kendrick Hunter, and he was specializing in hospitality in high school, to the extent that I guess you can in high school. He's furthering his education at the Culinary Institute of America, which is in New York City, and he left last weekend to go up and do his enrollment. The TDC was excited to help him participate in that. It's going to be an expensive venture for him, and so we issued our first scholarship to him. In addition to that, we've done these hospitality training programs in the past. We're now in the process of working with the high school to include some of that in their curriculum for the hospitality and culinary program, and we're pretty excited about that. We also have an arrangement with Visit Florida to have an online hospitality course. So for those that can't make the actual class, they can take hospitality training online in conjunction with Visit Florida. So we've got a number of ways people can work on improving their skills for dealing with in hospitality. So just kind of wanted to report that to you. Excuse me, 2 weeks ago, Visit Florida announced that we were successful in obtaining 2 grants from Visit Florida this year. One is a $2,500 matching grant, which is going to be used for producing videos, public service announcements on the Bay and the oyster industry specifically. And we'll be working on that this year. I think I've mentioned it to you before, but now we've got some additional funding to help put that together. So we're excited about that. And apropos of that, I think by next month we will have a short video for you of a themed public service announcement using our Mr. Oyster character that we've developed and is in the parades a lot, and that we send out to a number of the groups that are having events, and that's all focused on educating youngsters on how to go to the beach and the things that they ought to do, and make sure they clean up after themselves and avoid turtle nests and that sort of thing. So I hope to have that first one available for you next month. The second grant we received from Visit Florida was to develop an inventory and a promotion program for pet-friendly services in Franklin County. We've learned over the last 6 months that that's a big draw here, and one that we encourage. So we have a lot of facilities and services and retail businesses that are pet-friendly, and we want to make sure that our visitors know that we are. So that we're happy that Visit Florida funded that. And excuse me, I mentioned to you last month, but I wanted to remind you, because of your discussions about DEO, we have a grant before DEO that is a joint grant with several other counties between here and Dixie County to designate a 98 corridor for maritime communities, and to focus on drawing people from Orlando that are getting the bulk of the visitors, from international visitors, as well as people in this country to come here when they have extra time to spend, head this way. So as you talk with DEO, just keep in mind that we've got that application before them as well. In your packet, we have a couple of groups of contracts for you to consider today. The first group are for visitor centers. These are the 4 visitor centers we have. They're identical to last year, except that we've added an additional reporting requirement for visitor centers. It really asks them to put their data in a format that's easy to transmit electronically. It allows us to get our reports before our board meetings each month. Each visitor center is keeping track of their visitors, and we're using that information to help us track the activities of tourists locally. So that group is ready for your approval, if you would, or if you have any questions.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
You have records of the number of visitors to the visitors center
Yes.
this year?
Yes.
Is that the same or more this year than last? Are there any trends you can identify?
The trends are a little early to tell, because it's only been a year or so that we've been collecting that on a regular basis. Yes, the numbers are higher. There's no question about that. What I'm trying to do is to see, we don't get our collections report from DOR for 45 days or so. And that keeps us a little bit behind the curve in terms of knowing daily how things are going, or at least month by month. I'm hoping we'll see some comparisons between the information we collect from the visitor centers and what we see in our collections report, so that if we find that they track each other pretty well, then we'll be able to use the visitor center data to keep us more current in terms of what activities are, how the tourist visits are going. I think it's very important to point out that we keep real close track of nuances that occur in the lodging industry, and so that we can keep ahead of any changes. And periodically we get reports from the lodging companies. This will give us a little bit of an idea of whether something's happening that we didn't know about. The summer, for some reason, changes, and as we're looking ahead, we want to know as much information as we can, and we think the visitor center's reports are going to be helpful in that.
Follow-up question.
Yes, sir.
Also, you keep a record in the visitor center of where the visitors are coming from, I suppose.
We are asking that, yes. I have to tell you that the visitor centers have greater or lesser success in that, and that's largely depending upon how many people they get at the time. I mean, you kind of have to walk the visitors through. Will you sign our register? Will you give this information? And we're providing, beginning to provide the visitor center some incentives for their visitors to take the time to sign in and tell us where they're from and all that sort of thing. But I have to tell you, you know, the Appalach Visitor Center is a perfect example. They'll get sometimes 1,200, 1,300 people a month. I mean, that's a lot of people. And so, you know, it's a little difficult for them to get all of the information that we want. But we're beginning to do that, and we're beginning to provide incentives for the visitors to sign in so that we've got this ongoing database.
Thank you.
Anybody have anything?
I'll move approval of those contracts.
Have a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, Commissioners, the second group of contracts are the vendors' contracts. These are the 4 vendors, including my company, 2K Web Group, let's see, Forgotten Coast TV, and Bay Media. These are the vendors that we work with every year to do our marketing program and the other services that are provided. These contracts are the same fundamentally as they were last year. The attorney has given me some modifications for some tweaking for mediation and, you know, those kinds of things, but they are the same contracts as they were last year, and they're all for a year. I have discussed with you all, and I would like to ask the privilege of having you renew mine until September 30th, 2018, so that I can make some end-of-career planning, if you will, that comes with getting a little older. So I'd ask you if you would be willing to consider extending mine for 2 years.
Question, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
On the contracts with the television station and the internet provider and VR, you have a way of capturing the hits that we get, and I'm just curious.
Oh, yes, yes.
Are we getting more hits, or what?
Yes. The hits are, some media venues are harder to do than others. If you have a billboard up, it's virtually impossible to know what your the outcome is from somebody seeing a billboard. They are useful in the context of a larger campaign where we have tracking information. Obviously, the internet is a very reportable venue, and we do get a lot of tracking information from the internet. We're getting tracking information from our banner ads, and we, as a matter of fact, the vendors and I will be meeting in the next couple of weeks. We get together once every other month and look at that data as we begin planning the marketing strategy for the next year. So we get a good deal of data from them.
And follow up, Mr. Chairman. It's my understanding that we have a lot of repeat visitors too. Is that
Yes.
Data captured, and is that trend continuing?
Yes, it is. We get that from a couple of sources, and we estimate that, and we have pretty good data that demonstrates that roughly 2/3 of our visitors are repeat visitors. And that guides a lot of what we do, because in addition to advertising in areas that will bring new visitors here, the type of visitors that we want here, we also spend a good deal of effort marketing to repeat visitors. And we're starting to market, if they're here in the spring, we've begun marketing the events that are occurring in the fall, so that we're targeting them to do a repeat visit. And we know that that's the case. I mean, our lodging companies verify that their guests, you know, are coming both annually as well as more frequently during the year, and that, of course, is a proven audience for us and one that we're very comfortable with, and so we do spend a good deal of effort, you know, getting them to return.
Need a motion on the?
On what?
He wants,
I'll move approval of those up there.
hold on. He wants to do the contracts. He wants to extend his contract 2 years to 2018, and the contracts we got to other vendors.
Okay.
I'll move approval.
Have a second. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion second on the floor. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much, Commissioners. One last item. Our board, and I wanted to catch the airport manager, but I will shortly. Our board has been discussing the issue of airports and trying to provide a marketing strategy for increasing, the activity at airports. And this was brought to us by Commissioner Sanders, and I noticed that Mayor La Paz is in the audience, and she's been very involved in this as well. What we've come up with is a proposal to do what is called a fly-in we're going to start with, the proposal is to start with the airport in Carabel, and the whole idea on that one is that it's designed to coordinate with Camp Gordon Johnson Days next March, and we'll have World War II vintage airplanes on site at the airport and do some flybys and just a host of activities to focus on, people's ability to come to the Carabel Airport and make it more well-known amongst pilots that are, in the region that are looking for places to go and recognizing that this is a good place to spend the weekend. I sent you both a draft proposal for that as well as a draft contract. Mr. Schuler and I have been working on it. It's not ready for your approval yet today. I sent that to you for information. We're still working out some of the details, and I would expect that we'd have something next month when I report to you. When our board approved it and recommended it, they also asked that I include money in the budget next year, in our promotions budget next year for the Apalachicola Airport as well. That's just a big deal to coordinate. We didn't think we could do them both at once, but we're expecting to do something similar in the Apalachicola Airport after we get the bugs worked out in Carabel, if you will.
I thought it was, Mr. Chairman, I thought it was a good idea to start utilizing these airports and bring more in, and Mayor La Paz was just quicker on it than what the Apalachicola Airport, Franklin County Airport could be, so
She's on the ball.
it's a good thing.
And that's the end of my report. If you had any questions.
I have one. I want
Yes, sir.
to check the rest of them benches for me that they got over on the island, the rest of the cement benches, and see if they're going to use them. The other 6 or 7 they got.
I'm also looking for a source for that
Okay.
as well, sir. Yes.
Okay.
Question?
Yes, sir.
Or comment, really. The plantation has negotiated with the purchase of benches and got a good
Okay.
price.
Oh, good.
Look at that, too.
I'll give them a call.
And do you have an update on the marine statute that you're going to put at the Visitor Center in Eastport?
I don't have anything new on that yet, Commissioner. We, as you know, got a survey done of the property just a couple of months ago, and that changed the boundaries. When we acquired that building from the state, all we had was an aerial with magic marker boundaries, and we really couldn't tell much in terms of where the boundaries were. The survey came back and determined that our side boundaries were narrower than we thought, so we're having to go back and look at locating it someplace else on the site. So we haven't, I don't have anything new on that yet.
I was just in Jacksonville, and they've just done a walk along the river, and they've got a couple of statuaries there and marine history, and it seems to be a draw.
Anybody ever had anything for Mr. Kurt? Thank you, Mr. Kurt.
Thank you very much.
We're going to take a 5-minute recess, and we'll be back.